The moment you get hurt and the urge to chase. He hurt you, and your first instinct is to chase him. Explain yourself, prove your love, just to get one message back that calms your chest. But listen, the moment you chase, you don't just lose him, you lose you. Because some men don't fear your anger, they fear your silence. Not the childish silent treatment. No, I mean the silence of a woman who finally stops being predictable. So, let me ask you one question that will expose everything. If he can disrespect you today and still receive your devotion tomorrow, what reason does he have to ever change? In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you one simple move. Clean, calm, ruthless, that flips the entire dynamic. Not by playing games, not by making him jealous, not by begging for closure, but by doing the one thing your emotions will fight you on, the one thing that makes a man who hurt you feel confused, unsettled, and suddenly aware he might actually lose you. And if you've ever typed a long message with shaking hands, if you've ever stared at scene and felt your self-respect disappear, then don't skip this. Because what you do next decides whether you stay powerful or you spend months chasing a person who enjoys watching you break. You're about to do what almost everyone does when they get hurt. You're about to chase, explain, send the long message, ask for clarity, try to fix the feeling by getting an answer from the person who caused it. And that is exactly how you lose your power. Because the moment you chase, you hand your nervous system to someone else and you call it love. Listen carefully. If a man hurts you, whether with words, distance, disrespect, mixed signals, betrayal, your first instinct will be to react, to correct him, to prove your worth, to make him understand, to make him feel guilty, to make him come back. But the strongest person in the room is the one who can feel the fire and still choose water. Right now, you are not fighting him. You are fighting yourself. Your mind is screaming to something, don't let this happen, don't let him win. Your body wants relief. Your heart wants to be chosen again. And that's the trap. Because when you chase, you don't chase him. You chase the version of you that feels safe when someone wants you. You chase the old wound that says, if I can just be good enough, he won't leave. So here is the first truth that will sting, but it will free you. A person who hurts you and then watches you beg learns that hurting you is a power. They learn the pattern, pain and then attention, disrespect and then devotion, silence and then you break. That is why they repeat it. And you call it complicated. It is not complicated. It is conditioning. Now, you said confuse him. Good, but not in a childish way, not with games, not with jealousy tricks, not with toxic manipulation. The confusion you want is this. You stop being predictable. Because predictable people are easy to control. If he knows that one cold message makes you send 5 warm ones, he will be cold whenever he wants your warmth. If he knows that disappearing for 2 days makes you cry and chase, he will disappear every time he needs ego fuel. If he knows that hurting you makes you explain yourself, he will hurt you just to see you perform love for him. So the move is not to confuse his mind. The move is to break the pattern that feeds his ego. And the way you do that is not loud, it is quiet, clean, disciplined. It begins inside your chest. In the moment you feel this thing and your fingers want to type, stop. Freeze your hand. Not because you are weak, because you are training. You think discipline is waking up early and lifting weights. That is easy compared to not reacting where your heart feels threatened. The hardest discipline is emotional discipline. You want to take back your power? Then take back your pause. Because between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space, you decide who you are. Most people don't live in that space. They live in impulse. They don't choose their actions, their wounds choose. So when he hurts you, the first thing you do is not contact him, you contact reality. You ask one sharp question, a question that cuts through the fog. What does this behavior mean about his capacity? Not about your worth, not about your beauty, not about your value, about his capacity. Because a mature man does not need to hurt you to feel powerful. A stable man does not confuse you to keep you hooked. A loving man does not punish you with distance. So if you were hurt, don't immediately ask, why did he do this? Ask, what kind of person does this? This is how you protect your mind from romanticizing disrespect. And yes, your heart will argue. It will say, but he had a bad day, but he's stressed, but he's not like that always, but he said sorry, but I love him. Fine, love him, but don't abandon yourself. Love without self-respect becomes a slow suicide. Now, here comes the part most people don't understand. When you stop chasing, your mind will panic. Not because you need him, but because your nervous system is addicted to the cycle: pain, hope, pain, hope. It feels like love because it has intensity, but intensity is not intimacy. Intensity is often instability. So when you go quiet, your body will feel withdrawal. Your chest will tighten, your thoughts will raise. You will want to do something just to stop the discomfort. This is where you become powerful, because the person who can sit with discomfort without escaping becomes unshakable.
This is why most people never heal. They treat discomfort like an emergency. It is not an emergency. It is a lesson. So stop arguing with behavior. Read it. What do you do instead of chasing? You do something that feels almost unfair to your old self. You return to your center. You breathe in through the nose, slow. You exhale longer than you inhale. Again, again. Tell your body we are safe, because right now you are not dying. You are detoxing. Then you do the next move, the move that changes everything. You stop giving him access to your emotions, not because you were cold, because you were clear. If he hurt you and you immediately pour your feelings into his hands, you are giving him a weapon. You're showing him exactly what to pull, exactly what button to press. So instead, you become simple, you become calm, you become brief, you become unavailable to drama. And this is what confuses someone who expects you to chase your peace, because some people only feel important when they can disturb you. So don't announce your boundaries with speeches. A boundary is not a paragraph. A boundary is behavior. When you stop chasing, you're not trying to teach him a lesson. You are teaching yourself a standard. And you might say, but what if he thinks I don't care? Good, let him feel that. Because you are not here to prove you care by tolerating pain. You care about yourself enough to refuse the role, withdraw your emotional access, no drama, just discipline, of the person who stays while being disrespected. Now, let me bring you closer. There is a difference between a man who makes a mistake and a man who makes you small. Mistakes are human. Patterns are character. If someone hurts you once, owns it, corrects it, and changes, that is growth. But if someone hurts you and then blames you, minimizes you, calls you too sensitive, tells you you're overreacting, turns the problem into your emotions instead of his actions, then understand you are not dealing with love. You are dealing with control. And chasing a controlling person is like feeding a fire with your own house. Now, you want to take back your power. Power is not winning him back. Power is being okay if he never comes back, because then you are free. So the practice is this. When he hurts you, you do not rush to repair the connection. You repair your self-respect. You ask, what would a woman do who truly values her peace? Not what a wounded girl would do. A wounded girl chases. She explains. She begs for reassurance. She tries to be chosen. Grounded woman observes. She pauses. She lets actions speak. She does not negotiate her dignity. And watch what happens inside you when you choose that. At first, it feels like you are losing because your old identity was built on being the one who tries harder. But after a few days of not chasing, you start to feel something new. Space. You start to hear your own thoughts again. You start to notice how much of your energy was spent on managing someone else's mood. You start to realize you were carrying the relationship like a heavy bag while he walked empty-handed. That realization is painful, but it is also the beginning of freedom. Now, let's talk about the moment he returns, because often when you stop chasing, they come back. Not always for love, sometimes for control, sometimes for validation, sometimes because they miss the attention. So when he comes back with a casual message, with a joke, with a "hey stranger," with an emoji like nothing happened, this is a test. The old you would rush and be sweet and pretend you didn't bleed. The disciplined you stay steady. You do not punish, you do not attack, you simply do not reward disrespect with immediate access. You keep your energy clean. You can be polite, but you do not offer your heart like a free sample, because your heart is not a public place. It is a sacred place. So if he wants entry, he must meet the standard. And the standard is not perfection. The standard is respect, accountability, consistency. Now listen, this is important. If you try to confuse him by becoming inconsistent yourself, you will lose your integrity. If you play games, you will attract games. If you manipulate, you will build a relationship made of fear. That is not power. That is poison. Real power is simple. You stop moving towards what moves away from you. You stop arguing with someone's behavior. You stop trying to convince a person to value you. You let their actions make the decision, because actions are honest. Words are easy. Apologies are easy. Promises are easy. Consistency is hard. And anyone can be loving when they feel like it. But love is what someone does when it costs them something, when they have to sacrifice ego, comfort, attention from others, the thrill of control, the pleasure of being chased. So instead of chasing, you do this. You watch. You watch if he shows up without being pushed. You watch if he takes responsibility without you begging. You watch if he changes without you threatening to leave. Because if you have to threaten for respect, you are not respected. You are feared. And fear is not love. Now let's go deeper. When a man hurts you, the biggest danger is not what he did. It's what you start to believe about yourself. You start to believe you are not enough. You start to believe you must compete. You start to believe love must be earned through suffering. You start to believe if you were prettier, calmer, smarter, less emotional, more chill, he would not treat you this way. Stop. This is the mind trying to regain control by blaming you, because if it's your fault, then you can fix it. But sometimes the truth is harder.
When he comes back like nothing happened, the test. Some people hurt you because that is who they are right now, not because you are lacking. So don't make his behavior your identity. Do not wear his disrespect like a name tag. You are not the woman he can treat badly. You are a woman who is learning boundaries. You are a woman who is waking up. And waking up feels like heartbreak sometimes because you are breaking the fantasy. The fantasy that if you love hard enough, you can transform someone. No, you can inspire, you can support, you can encourage, but you cannot discipline another adult into emotional maturity. That is not your job. Your job is to protect your peace. Your job is to be loyal to your future. Now, I want you to imagine this scenario. He hurts you and you don't chase. Hours pass, a day passes, 2 days pass. He expects you to crack and you don't. You focus on your body, you drink water, you go for a walk, you do your work, you clean your space, you meet your responsibilities, you sleep, you pray, you train, you journal, you breathe not to show him,
to stabilize you. And in that silence, something powerful happens. You stop being a reaction, you become a decision. And that is the moment the dynamic changes. Because the old dynamic was, he acts, you react. Now it becomes, he acts, you observe. And when you observe, you can finally see clearly. You can finally see if this man is adding to your life or consuming it. And when you see clearly, you stop begging for crumbs. You start craving nourishment. Polite, calm, not available for disrespect. You start craving peace. You start craving a love that doesn't require you to perform pain. Now, I can already hear the voice in your head. But what if I lose him? Let me tell you something that will feel like cold water. If you lose a man because you stopped chasing him, you did not lose a man. You lost a burden. Because a man who needs you to chase him to stay is not a partner. He is a child looking for attention. And you are not here to raise someone. You are dating. You are here to build a life. And the life needs stability, not emotional roulette. Now, another voice will say, but what if he's the one? If he is the one, your boundaries will not scare him. They will guide him. A healthy man does not fear standards. He respects them. He may not like discomfort, but he will not punish you for protecting yourself. So if your self-respect makes him angry, understand your self-respect is threatening his access. And access is what he was enjoying, not you. Now, I want to give you a clean internal script, something you can hold on to when your emotions rise. Not a message you send him, a message you send yourself. Do not chase what hurts you. Do not explain your worth. Do not argue with disrespect. Stay calm, stay clear, stay moving. Say that to yourself when your fingers itch. Because your fingers are not a problem, your fear is. Fear of being alone. Fear of being replaced, fear of not being loved. So let's handle fear properly. You don't kill fear by building reassurance. You kill fear by building a life that doesn't collapse when someone leaves. And that is the deeper power move. You strengthen your identity. You put energy into your health. You put energy into your skills. You put energy into your work. You put energy into your relationships with friends and family. You put energy into your spirituality, your character, your routine. Because a woman with a strong life is not easily controlled by a man's mood. A woman with a strong life can love deeply without clinging. And clinging is what creates suffering. Clinging to a person, clinging to a future you imagined, clinging to the hope that he will become who he could be. Hope can be beautiful, but hope can also be a prison. So you replace blind hope with clear observation. Now, let's talk about communication, because some people misunderstand this and turn it into ghosting or coldness. The goal is not to disappear to make him suffer. The goal is to stop over-giving to someone who undervalues. So he asks, what's wrong? You don't explode.
You don't cry in paragraphs. You don't deliver a courtroom presentation. You keep it simple. I didn't feel respected by what happened. And then you stop talking. You let silence do the work. Because a person who truly cares will lean in and try to understand. The person who only cares about control will argue, dismiss, blame, or mock. And now you have information, not drama. Information, and information is power. See, most people keep suffering because they refuse to collect information. They keep living in stories. He's just busy. He doesn't mean it. He will change. It's my fault. No. Look at what is happening. Look at the reality of his behavior. A relationship is not built on potential. It is built on patterns. So your job is to watch the pattern. Now, there's another level to this. Sometimes the man who hurts you does it because he knows you will stay. He tests how much you will tolerate. He tests how far he can push, not because he hates you, because he is undeveloped. And undeveloped people often build confidence by taking from others. So when you stop chasing, you are telling him without words, I am not available for this version of you. And that can cause two outcomes. 1, he levels up. 2, he leaves. Both outcomes protect you. Because if he levels up, good. If he leaves, good. What you must stop doing is this third option most people choose. You stay and you shrink. You stay and you swallow your needs. You stay and you accept disrespect as normal, and slowly you lose yourself. That is the true tragedy. Not losing him, losing you. Now, listen closely. Taking back your power is not an attitude, it's a practice. So the next time you feel hurt, do this sequence. You feel the sting, you pause, you breathe, you ground your body. You ask, is this a mistake or a pattern? You ask, is he accountable or defensive? You ask, do I feel safe to be myself with him? You ask, do his actions match his words? And then you act from your standard, not your emotion. This will feel unnatural at first, because if you grew up around inconsistent love, your nervous system thinks inconsistency is chemistry, thinks anxiety is attraction, it thinks chasing is romance. So you must retrain it. Real love is calm. Real love is steady. Real love does not make you beg to be treated well. And if you're not used to calm love, it may feel boring at first. Not because it's boring, because your nervous system is finally not in survival mode. Now, I want to address something very directly because it will save you years. Some men are addicted to being chased. They don't want a partner, they want an audience. They want the feeling of being wanted without the responsibility of valuing you. So when you chase, you become the audience. When you chasing, the show ends and they feel confused. They feel the emptiness. They feel the ego starving. That's the confusion. Not you doing tricks. You're simply stopping the supply. And this is why you must be careful when they come back with sweetness, because sweetness without change is just another hook. So, don't fall in love with the return. Fall in love with consistency. If he returns, watch if he returns with responsibility. Not, I miss you, but I understand how I hurt you. Not, let's forget it, but I want to do better. Not, why are you like this, but what do you need to feel safe? Because a mature man does not demand that access, he earns it. Now, let's bring it to the deepest point. Why does it hurt so much when he hurts you? Because it touches a place that existed before him, a place that learned long ago that love can be taken away. So when he pulls back, your inner child panics, and your inner child tries to fix it by being perfect, by being pleasing, by being available. But you are not a child now. You are grown. You are allowed to disappoint people who benefit from your lack of boundaries. You are allowed to lose people who only stay when you overgive. You are allowed to choose yourself, even if your heart trembles. Because courage is not the absence of trembling. Courage is acting with trembling. So when you do this instead of chasing, you are not doing it to him. You are doing it for you. You are telling your nervous system, I will not abandon you. You are telling your dignity, I am loyal. You are telling your future, I choose peace over obsession.
And then something surprising happens. The more you stop chasing, the more your power returns. You start to feel attractive in a different way, not because of how you look, because of how you move. You become calm. You become selective. You become less available to chaos, and chaos will hate that. Chaos will call you cold. Chaos will call you proud. Chaos will try to pull you back into the old dance. Don't go, because the old dance always ends the same way. You exhausted, him comfortable. Now, you might ask, so should I leave immediately? I'm not telling you to run from every problem. I'm telling you to stop running toward pain. There is a difference. If you are in a relationship, the right thing is clarity, calm, direct, and honest. But if the relationship requires you to lose your self-respect to keep it,
then understand you're paying too much, and love should not cost your soul. Now, bring your attention back to the moment you feel hurt. That moment is your training ground, because if you can master that moment, you can master your life. Most people's lives are controlled by moments they fail to master. A message, a tone, a look, a silence, a rejection, and suddenly they become someone they don't recognize. So you train. You train like a warrior trains, not to attack, to remain stable under pressure. That is true strength. So, next time you want to chase, do this. Put the phone down. Stand up. Straighten your posture. Shoulders back. Chin level. Breathe. And say to yourself slowly, I do not chase what disrespects me. I do not beg for what I deserve. I do not trade my peace for attention. Then do one action that builds your life. One action. Clean your room. Drink water. Write for 10 minutes. Walk outside. Stretch. Pray. Study. Work. Because momentum heals obsession. Obsession is stagnant energy. Move your body and you move your mind. And as your mind clears, you will see the truth that was always there. If someone truly values you, you won't have to convince them. You won't have to chase them. You won't have to shrink to keep them. You will feel safe. You will feel steady. You will feel respected, even during conflict. And if you don't feel that, then your pain is not a mystery. It is a message. So don't silence the message with chasing. Don't numb it with fantasies. Listen to it. Let it sharpen you. Let it upgrade you. Let it push you back to yourself. Because the goal is not to win him. The goal is to stop losing you. And that is how you take back your power. Quietly, cleanly, relentlessly. Not by confusing him with games, by confusing the old version of you that used to chase pain and teaching her something new. Peace is the new obsession. Self-respect is the new romance. Discipline is the new love. And when you finally understand that, something inside you settles. You stop needing him to be different. You become different. You stop asking, will he choose me? And you start asking, do I choose this? You stop begging for closure. You become the closure. You stop trying to be enough. You realize you always were. Now stay with this, because your next move matters, not for him,